evening, everyone. I'm so happy that you could make it tonight. I'm also ecstatic to be in such a beautiful space. I never really thought that the salon would last this long, and I certainly never thought it would end up at the Spoke Club. You see, it all started with a chance meeting when a friend of mine dared me to pitch an idea to Alexander Neat after a lecture. Now, it's worth noting that in true U of T style, I arrived late for his lecture, and I definitely was not in business attire. But he heard me out anyway. And the idea evolved into an elaborate nonprofit business plan that I still regularly refer to on this Starbucks napkin. We've come a long way. Since there's so many new faces in the room, and this is the first salon in what's going to be our new home base, I'd like to tell you about what Salon West actually is. Clearly it's a forum on the arts, but it's also a forum on public policy too. You see, artists don't exist in a bubble. They don't live in bohemian hovels, smoking cigarettes and creating wonderful pieces of art and stirring music. Artists are integral and integrated members of the community. Not only the communities where they live, but the communities where they operate. Artists create the visual and physical and sound space where we collectively reflect on who we are and where we are. Whether we're conscious of it or not, the visual art and the music of our city affects our lives. That's incredibly powerful. The thing is, not many people have access to these artists and arts administrators. Too few people have access to the individuals who are shaping our city. And so since we all have a stake in the future of our city, I started Salon West to break down these barriers. More than that though, the arts are a great tool to engage people about tough policy questions and create positive change. How does that work? Well, if you wanted to talk about empowering women, a lot of walls go up, and people aren't necessarily open to discussing that. But if you have a song or a play or a dance that addresses these issues, you can reach a broad audience on a really profound level. I'm not making this up. We've seen it at the National Ballet of Canada, where they've reimagined fairy tales to create these wonderful, compelling, powerful heroines. And it's pretty awesome. So that's what Salon West is all about. Empowering our artists and empowering our citizens to make the city a better place. Tonight's salon is about that in particular. In a moment, you'll hear from our tall friend from the Toronto Symphony Orchestra about extending their reach, their impact, and ultimately city building. It's been an eventful few weeks for the TSO, and I feel that I would be remiss if I didn't at least say something about it. Everyone else in the city has. So I really must applaud everyone at the Symphony for making a decision that required great courage and actually sticking with it. Now here's the thing, I really do feel for Valentina Aziza. The reality on the ground in Ukraine is beyond upsetting. There's a humanitarian crisis in Donetsk. The city is under blockade, and the ration cards and the bread lines really actually are reminiscent of World War II. Now, in a Canadian context, it's completely unacceptable to compare any group, except for the most evil, to Nazis. But you must understand that in a Russian context, this type of reporting is absolutely a normal part of the discourse. I'm not saying that to excuse Ms. Lisica's statements on the matter, but you should bear that in mind. On the other hand, the rest of what she had to say was deeply problematic. I'm not qualified to make any legal inferences on what constitutes hate speech or not, but on a human level, I think that whenever someone labels an entire group as subhuman, it's universally unacceptable. And in my humble opinion, though it may not mean much, I don't think that anyone who espouses those kinds of perspectives should be given a wider audience or the great honor of performing on one of the most prestigious stages in the country. Well, now that that is out of the way, I hope that tonight we can focus on the positive, focus on building our city, and focus on the music. So with these few words, I'd like to say thank you to our wonderful partners that spoke, thank you to my volunteers, and welcome to Salon West.